I need to tell a story about a story. There was once a woman named Tasha who was trying to teach me to make digital stories about family violence. I believe that it was important to get as many different voices into the world as possible on this issue. A mentor suggested digital storytelling was a good way to go. I sat with paper, went through my photos, and spent hours listening to my favorite CDs. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't choose a story to tell. I got overwhelmed. I dropped out of the workshop. You know, I've traveled all over the world learning about and working to prevent family violence. I should have a story. I should have a good story. So I decided to try again. I called a bunch of people together, all doing great work in the areas of youth and family violence prevention, so we could make more stories. But still, I'm struggling. The problem is that I'm overwhelmed with too many stories of family violence that flood my head and my heart. I remember hearing how my grandmother's friends, siblings, and neighbors overlooked her black eyes and the slash marks on her wrist from her suicide attempt. I remember how long it took me to name the propane explosion that burned 90% of my Aunt Jennifer's skin, domestic violence. I remember the rising nausea and dizziness I felt as I learned that my cousin Steve had gotten a restraining order against his brother Jay because Jay had asked Steve's 5-year-old daughter to, as my dad said, well, you know. And I remember hearing the inappropriate jokes people make about family violence and their own discomfort. People say, nothing's going to change. Why do you bother? Or their answer is, just lock them up. And I remember Carrie, who held her mother as she bled to death from a wound inflicted by her father, yet she still loved her dad and missed him deeply. Losing him to prison was as painful as losing her mother to the grave. Talking about this makes me uncomfortable too. It makes us all uncomfortable. But I think that this is where we need to start, with our own stories, our struggles, our discomfort with them, our fear of speaking and hearing the truth about what happens in our families. From this place, we can move to change.